All right, stock nerds and market lovers. So allergies have gotten the best of me. So I am not sick. I just have a bunch of allergies that have bloomed here in Texas that are absolutely kicking my butt. But we have a lot to talk about this week. And right now, quarterly rebalancing. So it's triple witching this week. And what happens is funds that are, stocks that have gone up in certain indices have to rebalance. And if you're an ETF or a mutual fund and you follow that structure, you're going to have to, you typically want to rebalance the third week of the month. It's options expiration week because there's a tremendous amount of liquidity and volume. A lot of people think that happens at the last week of the month, and it could. There's no rule that says you have to do it this week, but it's
more advantageous.
It's more advantageous, right? Because you'll get bigger moves when there's less liquidity, and you want to try to just
minimize the impact.
Yeah, minimize the impact. Look, I sent a note to fellas yesterday. There was a bunch of open interest on ES 4400, and I don't know if we get there today. We're at 4429 right now as we're taping the show on Friday morning around 9:30 and Central Time. Really?
Wow.
That's the producer?
The producer. That's not even us.
It's too early for us. That's what it is.
Fellas, it's been a challenging morning.
That's all right.
I apologize.
That's all right.
I remember to turn my phone off.
It's all
my fingers off too. So 4430 is where we're at right now. I don't know if we get down to 4400, but it wouldn't surprise me in the least if we settled down there today. Does that mean the whole market's going to roll over and the seasonality comes into play? I don't know. I mean, buy the dip has been what you do in 2021. Buy the dip in 2020 is what you do. And then the market has had this habit right now of going down into options expiration like the last 3 months. And then the last 2 weeks, it's rebounded. Doesn't mean it'll always happen. And if it's going to take a turn for the worst, doctor, it's going to happen now. And so you do have that fall seasonality. So nothing would really surprise me. But before we talk about serious issues, Danny, I want to talk about this.
I'm nervous now.
Yeah, hold on.
Look at your screen. I want to talk about the greatest. You know my feelings. Stock nerds, long-term stock nerds, viewers of the show, know my feelings about Chipotle. I think it's one of the greatest stocks created. I'm just a huge fan of the management. The CEO, Brian Nichols, used to be the Taco Bell CEO, and I thought, gosh, if anyone can, and if you remember, Chipotle was having, yeah, really, that's your contribution.
I love that.
We're
Dog. Sorry.
Is there do we have a show killer sound? Do we have a sound
I don't know off the top of my head
that can just say show killer?
There we go.
That was a bomb.
It sure was.
Do you have a noise button?
Couldn't guess that.
You missed the first part. Sorry, go ahead.
When Alex comes off the top rope with couldn't guess that, like Alex, I don't know if Alex is like on this like he feels like he's this on probationary period where he doesn't insult Dan. But I've gotten over that, and Alex,
I think I'm out of that.
There you go.
I'm good now. Yeah, we're comfortable enough.
I'm super grateful for that because thanks, Dan.
That was good.
Back to you.
I'm a fan.
Yeah.
I love it.
I've also got this one.
Oh, I like that one too. That's a good one.
I like that one.
Yeah. That's fantastic. So Taco Bell, when Chipotle's having all these food issues and they were just getting people sick with the the
E. coli.
Yeah, the E. coli. Taco Bell, out of any restaurant you thought that would get you sick, it would be. I've been in some shady Taco Bells, and this guy Brian Nichols just keeps the Taco Bell cranking, man. No sickness there, and he takes over Chipotle. Chipotle just explodes. Chipotle's an amazing restaurant, amazing manager, but Taco Bell is fighting back, and you can eat like a king at Taco Bell, but Taco Bell is testing a taco subscription.
I heard about this.
This is how you know there's a Jesus.
Yes.
So you just you get your Netflix, you get your Hulu, you get whatever you subscribe to, and now you can get tacos. Which then got me thinking, which is where I need to bring Hunter in here and Alex, because I was told last week by a certain woman named Me and Mommy that there was not enough Hunter on the show. So we're gonna bring him in early.
I didn't know about this.
Yeah.
Well, he got cut out.
She's your advocate.
Oh,
She's
that's
your
right.
advocate.
Yeah.
Huh?
It doesn't matter
Yeah.
if there's technical issues. The words were "figure it out, Tim." All right.
Well, it was Tim's fault.
So I have figured it out. We are going to do what food? Like, do you guys remember Movie Pass? It was just a couple years ago. Like Movie Pass, where you could go to any movie theater,
Like $10.
just show your card and you get any movie, anything. So if there was a food pass, what restaurants would you like? What foods would you want it to be on? And like
Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, but it can't just be like the whole menu, right? Like it's got to be specific things. So, Hunter, you get one. Give me one food you on your food pass.
I'd have to say a Chipotle bowl would be my number one.
Yeah, there you go.
That's a good answer.
That is a good answer because that's a $13 bowl. And let me tell you how I know that. Because
You can customize it too. A little bit of variety in there.
That's
yeah, it's customized. Well, you know what? It might be easier. Let me just throw
switch
out
things up, maybe.
it's $13 by the way to eat the bowl at Chipotle. I get the salad
with guac and steak. Sure.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, I do
I was
steak.
gonna say, you're going big.
I do steak. Is that really considered going big? I do steak, guac, and sour cream.
Steak and guac. It's just sour cream's on it.
I make
steak
them,
and guac. I mean,
I make them get the cilantro out of the refrigerator.
Do you really?
I love the cilantro.
You monster. Even when there's a big line, you're like, everybody stop. Go get the cilantro.
I waited in that line.
True.
I'm holding up a sign that says, "Hey, I'm going to ask for cilantro."
That's a good point.
Plan ahead.
That's fair.
Anyway, it's a $13
I'm
bowl.
surprised they wouldn't have the cilantro out and ready.
I know because I'm the only one asking. So they keep it in the back in a hermetically sealed bag.
I didn't know you could get like additional. If you request it, they'll give you additional cilantro.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right.
And
Chipotle
I
hack.
always,
And you could also just carry around a bag of cilantro the way Danny does peppers.
yeah, Danny's
true.
Hey, you know, a lot of places don't have fresh pepper.
That's right.
Show your peppers now, Dan. Which pocket do you have them in?
Danny is wearing his cigar rolling shirt.
This
from-
is a
from
Guayavera.
That's a what?
a Che Guevara.
Guayavera.
You're wearing a Che Guevara shirt?
Man, you guys have no,
I
no
genuinely-
cultural.
Look, no, I liked your last shirt. I genuinely didn't know. Is that like a style?
Yeah,
I'm
these
not-
are
I'm not
very-
making
These
fun.
can be very stylish.
Good looking shirt.
These are like
Yeah,
the
when
Panama
I think
shirts.
of cutting edge pop culture, I think of Dan. No question.
Man.
It's a tough morning. All right, it's tough crowd.
Don's never had that probationary period that Alex
Yeah.
feels like.
I like it. I think he looks.
So awesome. So I'll tell you where I don't want. Like if I had a food pass, the thing I don't want on there is Subway. Like
Yeah,
don't
most
Subway is
mediocre.
gross, and I don't care if
It
they've
is
got.
gross.
I don't care if they've got Tom Brady not eating bread and making the joke on there. Don't matter to me none. It also in that same realm. Let me tell you what's also gross.
So you like Taco Bell, but you don't like Subway.
You're not an aficionado. So
Taco
Taco
Bell's
Bell,
cool.
you eat like a king. Subway is just like your last resort.
Subway
And-
are flirting with food poisoning.
Thank you. Did you see?
In Texas, you got
I
so many
worked at
good.
Subway for 2 years.
Mexican.
He knows.
Hold on.
I don't-
I'm not
got some
defending
insight.
Subway. They used to soak their meat to make it more heavier and all that kind of stuff. I
Oh,
don't like.
no way.
I
don't-
did not
I-
know that
I-
Hunter was a sandwich artist.
I don't.
Stop.
I
I
don't
was
like.
a
I don't like.
sandwich.
He's a
Hold up,
sandwich
hold up for a
artist.
Wait, he's
Sandwich
getting a prop.
artist.
Hold on. He's grabbing. What is that?
Is it a
He's
Subway?
getting
on his
framed
wall.
piece of something off the wall.
Oh,
behind
is this
him.
employee
Wait,
of the
employee of the
month?
month, right? That's what I was gonna
It's
say.
like a diploma or a what is this? Like,
Sorry for any sound issues.
I can't wait to see
graduate
this.
Got
degree.
something. Okay, so this is from Me Mommy, right? This is the Wade Doing What It Takes achievement award that they gave me when I graduated. It has all the different jobs I've held, right?
Yeah.
So they don't have sandwich artist. Let's see if we can get this where you can actually render in here and see.
Yeah.
A little higher. There you go.
Doing what it takes achievement award.
Let's
Oh,
get the,
Doing what
I'm
it
trying to get
takes
the
Jake
what you call it off of
hey,
it.
careful. This is from me, mommy.
Glare. Yeah.
You be careful.
Hold up. Let's see here. Make it a little darker in here.
There you go.
Gotta put it higher,
See
higher.
Keep coming up.
There you
It's
go.
so
There
hard
you go.
because I can't see the camera.
Yeah, you're gonna have to just read it because
Just read it.
Yeah, we.
So
I mean,
basically-
yeah.
Basically, it says sandwich maker, barista, construction worker, grocery stalker, lawn care maintainer, jackleg carpenter,
Jackleg
investment advisor
carpenter.
intern. So
You're the most
It's pretty good.
interesting man in the world.
Yeah,
That's
there
for
you
sure.
go. You need to add that at the bottom. The most interesting man in the world.
So now, I think the controversy I think here is because I think a lot of people agree Subway's gross. That's why they're struggling. Like Subway franchisees are struggling. By the way, if you ever Google the guy who founded Subway and his interesting, maybe allegedly promiscuous lifestyle, that's interesting. That's a good.
I didn't think it was alleged. I thought that was he
Oh
was
no!
convicted as a pedophile. Oh, I'm thinking of Jared.
No,
Oh, that's Jared.
Subway
Let's-
spokesperson.
Jared,
Jesus.
inventor of
Let's
Subway.
tread lightly here. Jeez, me, mommy. Let's update. Let's take one of those awards away there.
I love it.
Can a fast food chain? You know what? Is that really is that the high point of before Jared got convicted? I'm not being.
Oh, yeah,
Maybe.
yeah, I
I
think
think so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
think
the
so.
high point,
Yeah,
right?
that was their
gets
top.
the-
Yeah.
Yeah,
There was
the
a
Subway.
stock. You got to sell your stock.
Sell your stock when you. Jeez, that is a truism there. So anyway, I think you have to add Burger King to something you wouldn't put on Food Pass because Burger King is gross. Like Burger
I
King
love
is,
Burger King.
You just don't
Burger
like
King's
you
not
just
that
don't like
bad.
the flame broiled.
No,
patty.
I feel like Burger
Flame
King
broiled, baby.
has cut
Yeah.
all the corners in like the company that runs them.
You're defending
Q-
Taco Bell.
Q-
We're talking about cutting corners.
QSR.
I think Dan's
Wrong.
right here. I don't think you can throw
Taco
glasses,
Bell.
throw stones at Burger King from the Taco Bell house.
We're throwing Chihuahua puppies from the Taco Bell.
Don, you know how many good Mexican restaurants we have in Texas, and he's liking Taco Bell.
Not one.
For what it's worth, in national polls, Taco Bell consistently ranks as the best fast food
Thank you.
Tex-Mex in the
That's
nation.
because in Pennsylvania they don't know what the hell Mexican food is.
Tim's
They
a
have
traveler,
Chi-Chi's.
all right? He goes across the country.
Yeah, I
He
will
knows,
say
yeah.
people from Texas are very passionate because I got
It's
in
the
a
worst.
debate about Arizona being better Mexican food. When I was in Texas, I almost booked my flight home that day. They were gonna kick me out.
Get a rope. Get
They
a
almost
rope.
got in a fight with me over that.
Swing by the rickety
The best-
stool store on the,
the
way.
best
to the
Mexican food in the world.
Oh, he's gonna go San Diego,
Mr. Taco number 2 on San Marcos Boulevard in San Marcos, California. Guillermo and Maria run the best
Really?
taco shop in the world.
It's pretty good. It's not bad.
It's the best.
Is that
okay.
San Diego?
Uncle
Where is
Tony.
it?
Uncle Tony brought some.
What's that?
When he
San
flew
Diego,
here.
San Diego, California. Yep.
Okay.
So what do you got,
San
Alex?
Diego.
San Diego. Alex, what do you got on your food
I'm-
subscription?
I'm gonna honestly, because of how much I eat it, I'm gonna go with the Chipotle thing that Hunter said. I
Yeah?
agree.
Don, you got
Mhm.
one?
Pizza from anywhere is. I've got a pizza problem.
That sounds like a
Hey,
good
I
business.
got a pizza
name.
problem.
That sounds like a good
All
name.
you
Pizza
can eat.
from
Or
anywhere.
Pizza from anywhere.
I like
Get a
that.
good
That-
slice
I think
somewhere.
I think that actually is something called Slice, which is I think Slice actually is sort of that
Really?
type of
Movie pass for pizza.
I think so. I got to go look it up. But anyway, I thought we'd have a little fun here before we get into some serious stuff with the show. So we talked about quarter rebalancing. We talked about, I want to show you this real quick. So starting something new, which is show notes. So I got the show notes here. The only way to get the show notes, I'm going to give them to Zach, our producer. Zach's going to then paste the show notes into YouTube, and that is where you can go access all of the show notes. And so
Nice.
That's a
Very
good
nice.
addition.
Yeah,
hey.
like people-
continue to upgrade.
people are asking, like, where do you get your content from? Like, what do you look at? And it's like, well, why not just show them the sources at forums? Now, the Taco Bell stuff is not on here. So
You got to do your own research.
That's
you
out
got-
of Tim's
you
head.
got to do your own research. But I do have something I do want to talk about. I want to talk about the Fed here for a second. I don't want to go on too long about it because it did spark debate among the IPO club. They heard last week's show and they were listening to the Fed, and I pulled some notes and I've got some things that I want to discuss here. So last week we talked about Eric Kaplan. It's Kaplan, right? Fed chair down here in Dallas, just buying a blank ton of stock, buying and selling stock, and it's not right. The whole thing's not right. I covered it ad nauseum last week's show. But here's the thing. So they order this week, Danny. They order a review, a Fed ethics review. This is akin to Wells Fargo ordering their own review.
Internal investigation.
Internal investigation. We didn't find anything wrong here of opening accounts.
It's like Congress doing themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, but the nuance I missed last week is this. Chairman Powell's Holdings. I missed this.
Ooh, the big dog.
I missed this. Powell owned 1.25 million to 2.5 million of individual municipal bonds. Now, a staunch, who's the fat dude down here in Dallas? He's got like 3 chins. He's the old Fed, Fisher.
Fisher's not fat.
Yeah, he's put on the.
Oh man, I haven't seen him lately, but he was in pretty good shape.
He looks like a stubbier Karl Rove.
I think it's somebody else. No, I don't.
No, who's the old Fed chair from Dallas? Hunter, can you pull that up for me?
Fisher was just before
this guy.
This guy, but he's not.
Does Fisher look like Karl Rove, Hunter, or I might have him confused. Just type in whenever you see it. Anyway, so a defender of the Fed, like this Fisher fellow, would say, well, he owned those bonds before this all erupted. But last year, the Fed purchased $21.3 billion in municipal bonds. If you were going to
they purchased half the bond market.
in the face of a crisis, if you were going to shore up your own finances, wouldn't it be to go to the bond market? Think about this. Now, Richmond Fed President Barkin. I don't know Barkin. I'll think of something mean to say about him in a minute. Just give me enough time. Barkin owned at the same time last year 1.35 million and 3 million, Danny, in what? Corporate bonds. What did the Fed purchase last year? To shore up the economy, Daniel.
Corporate bonds.
Who is not? They're all crooks. Let's just come out and they're all freaking crooks. I'm gonna switch to freaking, Danny, so you don't freak out.
They just need to have
freaking.
We just have to have blind trust for that.
That's cynicism, right?
I'm serious.
I'm sorry. I thought
blind trust.
Pardon me. I thought you meant we just have to have blind trust in them.
Oh no.
You're saying
they should not be able to pick their own investments ahead of knowing what they're going to buy.
These a-holes shouldn't be able to pick their nose. These people. You want to know what they should have? Now listen. I'm going to cut myself.
Just buy a basket of mutual funds.
They can have mutual funds. I agree with you. Like the common sense thing is what you said: a blind trust, or they get the TSP, like I suggested. Like every other federal employee gets the TSP. That's all they get. They can't. CNBC anchors have more restrictions on what they can do.
Yes.
Than these people.
Oh yeah.
And it's ridiculous. And so here's my suggestion. Make them own cash. Their policies, hold on.
Them don't worry about inflation.
Their policies have wrecked savers. So if you've got grandparents, you're in your 50s, well, maybe not your 50s, your 60s, 70s, 80s, you're youthful enough to have made it to your 90s, and let's pray that we say hundreds as normalcy coming soon. You were raised to save your money, not own assets. You could own assets. I'm not saying you can't, but the mantra was save your money, save your money, save your money. They have destroyed cash. This is well, Tim, what's the alternative? They have destroyed cash where it doesn't, if you're holding cash more than enough to just be a little bit liquid, you're losing. Daniel, food inflation, the inflation numbers came out this week, and everyone's cheering that it was 1/10 lower than expected. Which let me just put this in perspective. We expected Johnny to be an ugly child, but he turned out to be not half bad. That's the equivalent here. I don't have a better example.
And the margin for error is much bigger than that anyway.
You know what? Let me try again. We expected the Chevy Bolt to only catch on fire 5 times during your lifetime ownership. Here, it's only caught on 4 times. By the way, GM came out with an announcement this morning that said, "Do not park your Chevy Bolt within 50 feet of other cars." What the hell, Mickey Mouse operation is General Motors in Mary Barra are the worst. And listen, and I say that, and you're like, well, then the stock has done this. Don't tell me about Mary Barra and her actuarial decisions when they had an ignition issue and they didn't issue a recall or a fix for it because it did make financial sense for them to do so, even though it was killing people. People lost their children because of an actuarial science decision.
All back to the pedos.
Mary Barr, well, that's 40. Mary Barr can just fall off the face of this earth with her actuarial decisions. The same way I believe that the Bluebell people who kill people with listeria can fall off the face of the earth. And until these people go to prison for what they do, nothing is going to change. And it's that same kind of behavior in white collar world that empowers this Kaplan guy and this Barkin fella they secured their own. I got mine. They are the epitome, Daniel, of the theory of the yay for me, hell with you mentality that is prevalent in all faces of government, whether you belong to a HOA, homeowners association, which are the most corrupt organizations in the world, a school board, all the way up to these highest levels of Fed. The yay for me, hell with you mentality is encapsulated in this a-hole owning $3 million in corporate bonds and then suggesting to the Fed chair, a good idea might be to secure those corporate bonds. This is the epitome of self-dealing, but yet we do nothing about it. Well, it wasn't a crime when he did it. These people should be disgraced. They're not. Most people, this is normal. They're getting pats on the back from both sides of the aisle. They're getting, wow, man, I didn't think of how to screw the American people like this. Man, I was thinking of a way I could do some insider trading, but you guys at the Fed really take the cake. While your cash is not growing, while the dollar is getting destroyed by collusion of federal banks across the globe, these people are taking you to the cleaners. And it's not a big deal because we don't talk about it in school. We don't, when people say it's the most worthless, it's not worthless. Let me not be cynical here for 1 second. But when people say, I want to school the young people of this world on finance and stocks and how they should own stuff, just look, every time you come out and you tell me you want to educate kids on this stuff, they're not ready for it. You want to plant one seed in one child. Just talk to them about the value of the dollar. And that's it. Just like one chapter in 9th grade. That's all you need. They'll remember it. Because nobody's taught this. Damon, there's a study that came out this morning, which is not in my show notes, that said that most, like 43% of Americans can't name all 3 branches of government. Right. What nobody knows monetary. You say the words monetary policy, and that's the thing a-holes say at parties to make themselves sound smart. Let's talk about monetary policy here. Ha ha ha. And the Nikkei. No, they feel it. Their dollar purchase is less. A lot of people believe, and I'm not sure I'm in this camp, a lot of people believe that for $300 extra a month, they all stayed home, the majority of workers, and caused a labor shortage because their dollars are worth less, and the government said, I'll give you $300 more a month. They stayed home and didn't want to go to work. I have an alternative theory to this. But this is the scam. This is one of the greatest scams committed, financial atrocities committed in a generation. It started with the Great Recession, and then this pandemic has given, just with reckless abandon to destroy the wealth of so many because they saved and created the greatest income inequality we have ever seen. Now, how do we get back? Because putting these guys in prison isn't going to get people their savings back, is it, Dave? No. Maybe instead of for political purposes, we could not weaponize the dollar or weaponize the economy. We could do what's right and try to stave off inflation. Danny, the inflation rate that got reported, right? Inflation, 5.3%. It was 5.4 in July. Transitory. Literally, inflation was like 1% less worse. Like 1/10 of 1% less worse. If your kid comes home with a D minus, which is worse than an F, just give me the F. Give me the you didn't even try. D minus is like I put some thought to it and I'm just dumb.
Right. Just D minus.
D minus is the worst.
Right.
D
like
minus.
You're not failing. You're
Yeah.
just not good enough.
Yeah. F is like, man, I gave the man those, D minus is like, I don't know.
It's that Bart Simpson gag, right? Where
What's
he's
that?
like, he gets a D minus. He's like, but I actually tried. Like,
Yeah.
I really tried and failed. Like,
Yeah.
at least I didn't just not try and fail.
Inflation
Yeah.
was 1/10 of 1% less worse. And we're celebrating it. Food inflation was 20%. 20%. But it's great. Inflation's going down unless you eat or buy gas. Or who's going to heat their home this year? Anybody going to use natural gas to heat their home? Is anyone going to? What's the rise this year in natural gas, Hunter?
Alex actually might be able to tell you better with TOS.
I can do it too. I'm sorry. I'm being lazy when I'm asking. I'm sorry.
I know natural gas stocks have gone through the roof.
Yeah.
CHK, RRC are a couple of examples.
This is a shanty way to do this. So just give me a second here. Currently, okay, I did it poorly. Let me try it one more time. We'll just go this way. 103%.
Ouch.
The taxes. We're not raising taxes on people who don't have the money. Yes, you are. You're fed. Who takes care of themselves.
Inflation's the invisible tax.
That's right.
And that's the whole point.
That is the
Tim, Congress is in on it too. They're creating inflation to pass on this invisible tax to be able to try to pay off the supposed debt on inflated dollars.
Yeah.
The problem with low interest rates, it entitles Congress to spend even more.
Now
The
pause.
problem is getting even worse.
You took the bait. This is what a show professional does. Danny was going to Connecticut School of Broadcasting upstairs. I don't know what that is. Connecticut School CSBU. Connecticut School of Broadcasting upstairs. CSBU. Gosh, can we get some CSBU shirts? Jesus, and not think of that till now.
Yeah, we'll get them in collegiate lettering. So
That'd be awesome. Yeah, I want my me mommy. Can I get a diploma, please, from CBSU? CSBU. I like that.
Yeah.
I'm a broadcast artist.
Right.
Now,
Those will be on the clearance rack next to the William O'Neill yellow dresses.
that is an inside joke if you read How to Make Stocks. So Daniel wants to talk about taxes, and taxes typically kill the show because taxes are an esoteric topic when the law hasn't been written. And President Joe Manchin hasn't given clearance yet to what he's going to do with the taxes. See what I did there?
Mm-hmm.
Joe Manchin controls the fate of America. Not Joe Biden, not Kamala Harris, not who's the Senate Majority Leader? I mean, not Minority Leader. The turtle.
Mitch McConnell.
Mitch
Mitch
McConnell.
McConnell.
The turtle. Looks like the human embodiment of one of the turtles that approaches the owl in a Tootsie Pop
He's
commercial.
got a unique silhouette. Yes.
It's a turtle, right? Am I picturing the right dude?
Yes.
Yeah,
Totally
turtle.
a turtle. Yes.
Turtle. Okay.
Yes.
So Danny wants to talk about this tax law that hasn't been written. But he comes into the studio and says, "We got to talk about taxes," which means Danny wants to talk about taxes.
Yeah, I do.
So I led you.
We've been talking about inflation for a year and a half. Let's move on to something that's timely.
Wait.
We knew inflation was going to heat up.
I don't know.
And now they're going to tax you with that.
Okay, so now I gave Danny the segue.
There you go.
To lead you right into taxes.
The handoff.
I gave him the handoff.
Master.
What does he do with the ball? Go.
I didn't fumble. All right,
he's ready. Let's do it.
So herein lies the problem for a lot of people. Now, they're raising the income tax rates. Of course, those on this proposed bill are not going to go into effect until after the 2020 midterms because they don't want you to start paying more taxes before you vote. But the big hit is going to be with capital gains that actually is set to start on September 13th, like a few days ago. So, and they're going to kind of do this partial year deal that's going to be very confusing if it passes that way. So if you sold any property after that date, you're going to have a higher tax if you've got a high enough income. And I don't want to dive into the weeds and get all the, because Tim's right. They're still jockeying back and forth with what the proposals are, but it's going to be a decent, significant increase, and that's the problem. Here is the real thing that people got to keep an eye on and start getting ready, and that is, so it looked like they were leaving the estate exemption, the estate tax alone. It looked like we got a hall pass on the first go round with the bill, but then a few Democrats came back and said, "Hey, wait a minute, we forgot about the estate tax, so let's bring that back in." So the amount that you can pass estate tax free is going to get cut in half if this passes like it is, which I'm pretty close. I think it will. So they're going to take that away, and over and above that amount, you're going to get taxed at 40% when you die. Now, just like with the income tax, okay, the income tax, there's kind of a marriage penalty. So if you're married, you don't get quite a bit as a
Deduction.
level as you do if you're single, which is kind of, in other words, if you're together, living together, but you're filing separately versus if you're legally married or, and it's not as good. But on the estate exemption, if you've got an estate roughly of just mas or menos, an individual about 4 million or more, married 4 million or more, and if you're married, if you don't have that bypass clause, if you don't have the thing where you both get your exemption, you don't have them, then you've got to act now. You're going to have to take some quick action because, and when I talk about, 3.5, 4 million, people go, well, I don't have, well, it sounds like a lot of money, but if you've got a house and the way house prices have gone up because you're the inflation, Tim, so your $500,000 house just 4 or 5 years ago is now worth $1 million. That's counted in there. So your IRA, you got a 401k, it's counted in there.
How about life insurance policies, things like that?
It depending on how that's a great point. If you own, Tim there.
Pause. Let's give rise to the Connecticut School of Broadcasting upstairs.
Let's give gold star to Tim for getting an insurance question right. Hey! I love it. All right. So if you own the policy and it's $1 million policy, take care of your wife or kids or whatever, or husband and kids, that included in your estate. So you got to structure that right. A lot of people don't realize they're buying half of their insurance policy. They're buying for Uncle Sam.
Right.
So you got to structure that right.
Can we pause for a second? Because I think what you're throwing out here is interesting. I bust Danny's chops, but the problem isn't it's a lot. And a lot of people aren't taking into, do annuities count into this? Does your life insurance policy count into this? Do your automobiles, are they going to
everything counts?
Yeah, and are they going to count them as assets? Even though my father walks around saying automobiles are a depreciating asset, well, automobiles are going to count as assets when it comes to pay the taxes.
Get that blue book out, baby.
Yeah, and so there's a lot that goes in here. And so what I encourage you to do, and listen, whether you're a client of the firm or not, it doesn't matter. Our business model at Revere is to serve everyone. And so it's why the show's free. We don't make you subscribe. We'd love it if you did. It just goes right into your inbox. We don't spam you. You get to talk to, like when Alex, like I'm going to draw right here on Hunter, Alex, and Don. They make all the decisions for the portfolios. When you want to ask them, well, like, how do you formulate your watch list? Where does it come from? The genesis of it. What are your triggers? Like, you actually get access to them. If you go to Strip Mall Advisor or stripmalladvisor.com, you don't get that. You get plausible deniability. And so whether you're a client, you're not a client, and you do have some assets, your house, your automobile, your insurance policies, your new, whatever you have, just call. Our advice is free. We don't make you sign up for anything. We're here to help you. Like, we're here to empower you, more importantly, to make better decisions. And we do that willingly and as a service. And that's not to mantleize us there for a minute, but it's just like, a lot of people won't talk. And look, these firms that charge you for estate planning, these firms that charge you for just doing something
Cafeteria style.
Yeah, like they charge you, unless you're just buying mutual funds, we're going to charge you for everything extra. We don't do any of that. That's not our business model is inclusive, and it's here to help. And so 855-732-5932.
Well, but here's the main thing with regard to the estate portion. People go, well, $3.5-4 million. I'm not gonna. If you're still working and saving and adding to that, or even if you're retired and you're not taking out nearly as, but it's still growing. If you got another 10, 15, 20 years in your life left, it's going to compound. And it does. See, that's the rule. When they talk about you compounding your estate, you don't realize that the total growth. They tell you if you put in $1,000 a month every month for from the time you're 25 to 65, then you got $1 million or two. You've heard that story, right? Well, the problem is the last 2 or 3 years is literally 80% of all that compounding. That's where all the growth happens. So you'll get surprised, and all of a sudden you'd be surprised at how big in 5 or 10 years your estate's going to be. So you got to plan 10, 15 years out. And this thing ends in December 31st. You're going to miss the deadline for some of these estate tools, and they're pretty complicated. So I don't want to get into them, that they're going to be disallowing. You still got time, but all of a sudden, all the lawyers and these valuation companies and all these companies that help you do, or estate attorneys, they're all getting booked up right now. You're not going to be able to get done. So that's the main point. The main point is, if you got any questions, you got to pay attention.
Don't sit on this, is what you're saying.
You got 3 months, bottom line.
Yeah, and so, and it's hard because you don't know what the law is going to be, but just know that I mean, I don't know how you think otherwise, but the law is going to it's going to cause you the maximum amount of pain.
Oh yeah,
it's going because all this spending comes at a cost.
They need the budget reconciliation. It's called the Budget Reconciliation Act. They got to show how they can finance it and pay for it. Now, they're using a lot of actuarial assumptions, which in my opinion will never come true anyway. Right. Like, all these tax increases and the growth of the economy are going to raise this much money because our future tax revenue on these rates are going to be based on the growth. Well, if you tax too high, you're not going to get that growth, right? But they make these assumptions so they can spend this $3.5 trillion, and they want to spend that money. So they're trying to figure out how they're going to do it. So there's taxes coming down the pipe.
If you don't think the Fed and Congress and like there are no independent bodies in my mind.
Oh, they're in cahoots. That's what I was talking about with inflation.
They're all in cahoots. And just follow my logic here, Stockmans. And I'm not. I almost feel like I'm assuming this tinfoil hat, and I sound a little downtrodden about it.
Looks good on you.
No, but the problem for me here is it's all coordinated, and it's also clear to me that we're going to destroy the dollar, which is going to destroy a portion of our population's wealth. We're going to then inflate assets, because that's what happens when you destroy the dollar. You get inflation, you get the inflation that's happening. Sure. And what you do then is it causes the prices of stocks or assets or pieces of companies to go up. They're valued more. Your home has been valued more. And then they're going to come out and say, oh, the value of your house is more. That's more tax dollars. Right. The problem with all of this is that wages have only gone up 4.3%. So food inflation is 20% for the month. Overall inflation rate for the year is 5.3. wages.
Well, I think that's a year over year.
Year over year.
Food inflation.
Hold on, Daniel.
I don't think
Well,
that's month over month.
Danny, when we say we have a question, you know what we do? We go to the show notes.
That's an annualized rate.
Let's go to the show notes. You
Okay.
ready? Look at your screen.
He's got a link right there.
I got a link. We're going to pull it up.
Okay.
Food inflation 20.3. Let's see. The National Bureau of Statistics on Wednesday said the composite index rose by 20.3% in August compared to 21.3%
Compared to what? Keep reading.
in July of 2021. It's a month over month. Oh my gosh. Hold on.
I'll have to go look at that.
Well, wait a minute. I'm not wrong. I just don't know what this website is. Who created? Who is this author I've never heard of? Is this legitimate? Where did you find your source? The 7 levels of Danny being wrong are gross. Listen, I've been through them all. You present.
Tim, I've been talking about inflation for years.
Hold on, you're
just the last 2 months.
not taking me off this point. Danny, when Danny gets fed a piece of information he doesn't agree with, comes out and says that
I want to research that more. 20% month over month across the
I think
board
it's
on
year over
food.
year.
It's year over year.
It's year over year,
Okay.
Tim.
I just
annual.
highlighted it.
It's year over year, Tim. Eat crow.
I'm not even defending it. I'm just saying I presented what
That's
the article said, and Dave's like,
If it was truly 20% month over month, you'd have people already riding in the streets.
they are rioting in the streets.
Yeah, it'd be like Venice. All right, let's keep going.
Hey, why is beef jerky so expensive?
It always has been expensive, but it's getting
Yeah,
worse. Let's talk about that
I
for
was
a
at
second.
CVS.
Yeah.
It's CVS yesterday. I was there, right?
Mhm.
And a bag of beef jerky. It wasn't even like the big, super big Costco bags.
Right.
It was like $15.
No,
And I
it's
got like what 3 ounces of beef.
if
The
if
jerky
that's
That's
market.
not right, Alex. That's just wrong.
It's that's
People
wrong.
need their protein in a cost
I need my beef jerky.
Wait a minute, are
okay?
you doing Don? Can you do that as Danny and just tell Alex he doesn't know what he's talking about?
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, could you just come back and tell Alex you didn't see those prices?
Alex, in Texas, we make our own beef jerky and it drives.
Hey, I know a lot of people that make their own. Know a lot of people that make their own.
Where's the Ronco air
but,
dehydrator?
but to clarify, Tim dug his heels in the sand, saying I was wrong.
I know
20%
that's
month
true.
over month.
I'm
and
not
it's not
saying you're wrong. I'm saying that when presented with the fact that you're not familiar with, which by the way, there's a ton you're not familiar with, you come out as a natural react. Your natural state of reaction is that's not right.
Hang on. That is correct because that did not make economic sense to me. And I read the Fed website. That just doesn't make logical sense.
Okay, there's a lot. I have 252 calls with you a year.
Okay.
I spend 15 to 20 minutes with you on the phone for 252 days. Okay? Don can attest to this. Don could tell you he just bought a yellow car, and Danny would come out with, "Are you sure it's yellow?" Don wouldn't buy it. It's just the way you operate, man. Like, I'm just going to present
It's
to you.
not bad. It just is. We
There you
love
go.
you, Dan.
Nothing
There
wrong
you
with
go.
wanting to be
There you go.
informed, all right?
Yeah. He takes the opposite stance of anything. Eagles are a great football team.
Oh, well, come on. You got to take the opposite of that.
That was
You got to take the opposite of that.
That was too easy.
I will to support Tim's point. The number of times that I have sent Dan a text just suggesting something and thinking this is a layup and him just automatically going for it is zero.
I want to question things and research it.
He
That's
questions
right. Thank you.
everything.
That's
the
right.
that is-
My dad
For
told
better
me
or
to do
worse.
that. Question everything. Check the source. Be thorough.
He's right. There's nothing wrong with
Nothing
that.
wrong with it.
Just the
I'm
way
just
it is.
pointing
Yeah,
out
hey.
your natural inclination is to say no.
Knee jerk kickback.
Perhaps
Knee-jerk
a bit of a
kickback, yes.
skeptic.
Thank you.
Well,
It's
I'm
a good
glad we
thing, though,
did.
'cause
We would
most
have
of the
given
time in
people.
markets-
I'm glad we did. We would have given listeners the false information.
They've got the show
Good
notes.
point.
You know what? Now they have the show notes and they can do the research themselves.
Yay.
Yay. And by the way, Alex, if people want the show notes this week, where are they going to go?
Our YouTube channel, Revere Asset, and we update daily with daily market insight videos, and also I do a bonus stock video about once a week. I put one out last night.
That was good.
Yeah.
You could also make sure you press that big red button that says subscribe and like the videos. And you could also share the videos. There's a share button. You could share it with Twitter or Facebook, whoever. If you have a friend that might be interested, go ahead and share it to them.
Now,
too.
as the mascot of the Connecticut School of Broadcasting upstairs is a microphone. We call ourselves affectionately Mikey. So as a Mikey alumni, see how I just threw it to Alex there? Where can you find those show notes? He's now talking about the video he did last night, which is, by the way, is this the next super winner?
Ooh.
Is it?
Which stock? I guess I'd have to watch the video.
Well, we should all watch the video, but real quick, Alex, before you describe this super stock, I want to come back to another super stock, and I haven't looked. I purposely have not looked at. I saw Alex's title, so Alex goes, "Hey," sends me a little text, right? "Hey Tim, I got it. The video. Can you post it?" Yeah, man. I see the.
I
title.
like how accepting you are too. It doesn't matter what time you're like. Yeah, I'll get it done. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
You're welcome. And so, well, that's the whole aura of our YouTube channel. Look, markets are open 24 hours, baby. We could drop this thing at 1 in the morning. You then are prepared for pre-market trading. Pre-market trading at 4 Central. So I saw the title, and right away my mind went to, what's that other stock that was Alex's stock of the century? And then I was like, oh, it was
that was, I know what you're going to bring up. Yeah.
And I'm like, well, how do I bring this up? Because I don't want to I haven't looked at the chart, so I don't know what it's doing. I purposely haven't. So I don't know if it's great. I don't know if it's bad. Okay. But if it's bad, I think what this does though, the evolution. Oh, hold on, Danny. Let me put it in the way you'll understand. The evolution of a.
Wow. Mr. Vocabulary.
Classic.
All right. Okay.
Well, I
just had an extragenous event here.
Yeah. I did indices earlier, and I couldn't get the joke in. Because Don it's indexes to Don, and I say indices.
It's indices.
Yeah.
No, it's that you make the singular into C.
Oh, do I do that?
Yeah.
I'm just butchering the English
Indexes,
language.
indices, yeah, it's both plural. It can be one or the other, but I'm
right.
I'm pretty sure you can't use into C.
Yeah, can you not use indices?
It's index.
Oh, that's a bummer. That's a missed opportunity.
Because I like to check things. I'll double check that, Don, and see if you can use indices.
That's right.
Although Don's command of the English language is better than mine, so I probably would defer to Don.
The rare Danny compliment. Whoa.
Low bar, no matter how low the bar is.
It's not as low as Tim's when we're talking about the English language.
That's right.
So Alex has this, I don't know. He just said next super winner, and I went stock at the century.
Was it a bonus stock video?
Yeah, it was Roblox. And so I don't know. I don't listen to Alex's degeneration.
Oh, you're going to bring that one up.
But hold on now. I was struggling in my mind. Do I bring this up? I don't want to make Alex feel bad.
No, bring it up. I would love to talk about it.
Well, that's the thing. Like, we give more value to people because everybody in the free world knows that not every stock trade works out. And we talk about rules and like at rules for entry. I always talk about triggers for entry and we harp on rules. Yeah, rules for exits. And so we provide more value. And this is all in all seriousness. When we follow up like this, like the problem I have with the CNBCs or the touts or the GERBs or pick your hedge eye, like there's no follow up, right? Like there's no, hey, we give you so many stock thoughts during a day that you can't possibly follow up on all of them and how they do. And so the videos we do 5 nights a week give you thoughts and ideas, but they're all shaped around rules for entry and rules for exit. And helping that whole empowering part isn't just like some kind of slogan, right? Eat, pray, love. It's empowering you to actually develop. That's how the IPO club, on Twitter, a bunch of stock nerds and market lovers that just like, hey, can we just talk about this all day? Because I really don't like my day job. Perfect. I'll give you a back channel on Twitter to do it, and that's all they do is they're talking about rules for entry and rules for exit and all that other good stuff. And so I don't know what Roblox has done. Purposely, that's not me being facetious. I haven't looked at it, but I'd love to know Alex's thoughts on this stock that he brought to the table, which you can only find on our YouTube channel, and following up with the other stock of the century, Roblox. And so, Alex, tell me what you want me to bring up first on the chart.
And before we start, a few weeks ago, you did mention to go over and like review previous bonus. I started doing that. And last night I did go over the current open positions that we have.
Oh, sweet.
And then one of them I did end up selling. So I went over that and what I did and why. So I did take your guys' advice and I've been reviewing all of the bonus stock videos since a few weeks ago when you recommended me to.
Awesome. All right. Yeah. Let's roll with, do you want to talk about Roblox? You want to talk about the stock you did last night? You want to talk about something else?
Yeah, we could, pull up Roblox. That's fine.
Sure.
Let's look at it. Maybe on a daily.
There we are. That's not.
Yeah, so that's consolidating, but the problem with that I see is that it's under that 50-day.
Okay.
Which I think is your red line there. Is that the
red? The red line is yes, sir, right here. And I'm going to switch it to a weekly on you real quick.
The story is there. It's just
I will.
I think it just needs time. The weekly actually looks okay.
Yeah, weekly making higher lows as it consolidates.
Yep.
Yeah. I think that right now there's better merchandise, and I think I would just wait to see if we can get back above maybe like, I don't know, what would you say, Hunter, like 90 level probably? It looks like there's a ceiling.
Yeah, it's struggling in the kind of like 75 to 90 range. So like that 90-95 pivot where it basically got rejected 5 or 6 days ago, that's the first place I'd want to pay attention to really. So 90, if you can set an alert at 91, 92, and that'll kind of give you some insight as to whether or not it's really starting to move.
This isn't a bad chart.
The thing I will say is to our viewers is try not to marry your idea or your name, even if it starts to work. You have to be flexible. Like I flip on, like one day I may like my stock, and then if the next day something happens price wise, I move on. I can flip on a dime if I like it or not. So just a heads up.
Can we have
something? You have to be flexible because things happen so fast.
What's your time frame?
On that particular name or like a newer name?
Any name.
It depends. Like if the ATR is large and the stocks move screaming, it's going to be shorter because the thing's going to be volatile. But if it's like here, I got a perfect example. Pull up TMO. This one gapped up today. I'm not cherry picking.
Well, the answer is as long as the stock's acting right.
No, that's not true though, because I'll give you an example why. On TMO, I remember I bought this in my beta test at 488. Okay, this was like earlier in the year, and I knew going into it that this was going to be a slower stock. So my time frame was much longer, and I've held it all the way up to here. Now, if you let's pull up TEAM. This was a recent bonus stock. My time frame on this is a lot shorter because it's a lot faster, and I bought it on a gap up. It wasn't out of a standard base. So when it breaks, let's say a shorter term moving average, like a 21 EMA, I'll sell. But on TMO, I'm going to use the 50-day, which is a longer time frame. I hope that kind of sums up.
No, this actually is a fantastic discussion. Let me ask you this then: for the viewers, this is great content. Like if you were sitting at home upset at me for talking about Taco Bell subscriptions, this is why you came to the show right here. We haven't given you anything yet. You might be thinking what Alex is doing right now in the discussion we're going to have on fast and slow, and then I'm going to bring in something called dollar cost averaging. Is super interesting. And let's talk about it. So tell me.
Well, hang on. I want to clarify on Roblox. Do you still own it or did you sell it?
No, I got stopped out when the trade was back when we were talking about it.
Okay. So Alex, how do you determine fast and slow? There's no right or wrong answer here. Just so people can.
Okay, so if this stock is holding above that 80 MA or 21, that particularly is a faster stock, and also the average true range of a stock. So how much does the stock move compared to its price? So let's say you have a $400 stock and it moves $40 a day, that's a 10% ATR. That's a very fast stock.
So right here, just for at home, Alex, hold on one second. So here's team, which is Australian, and based off the 21, how I measure ATR, it moves every day about $9.30. Yeah. So
2.5%.
Yeah, and so so you're saying
I would consider this a faster stock because the other reason is because look what averages it's writing, and look where it is. Like your 3 times ATR right there, which is probably around that 80 MA. That's fast stock.
Yep. So let's put on TMO here for a second. So TMO is a $600 stock, and let me just get my marker so I can freeze price here. $13.20.
Well, that changed because of today. That's kind of
a little slow.
That if we looked yesterday, is there a way you could see yesterday's ATR?
Yeah.
So there we go.
Yep. I'm sorry, I moved off of it.
$10.
Hold on.
So that's like a 1.4% ATR. So it's less.
A little slower. Okay. And so that is so now for this stock nerd or market lover at home that's looking to say, well, how do I take advantage of the information Alex is giving me? So do you own a faster or a slow stock? How do you handle it? How do you handle that entry? How do you handle that exit? Alex is telling you he's been in TMO. When did you enter TMO, Alex?
I think it was back in, off the top of my head, April or March. It was around 488 was the price.
Okay. So around 488. And it clearly, great move, right? Great pick, great move. And it's dancing around here. Look, from where 488 is.
That right side is where I got in when it started to break up above that area. Yep, right around there.
Oh, okay, that's June.
Where I was getting.
Okay,
yeah,
so
June.
Right in here, and it's been trending and holding the 21. Yeah. So I then say, well, okay, let's go back to Roblox for a second because look, there's people.
Yeah.
No matter what we talk about, which by the way, there's a million ways to skin the cat here. Okay, how you get to your financial independence. I mean, just because you do it one way doesn't mean it's wrong. What we're here to help you do is get there. Like that's our job. That's what we do. We help you trying to gain that financial independence that you're after. That is what we do. And how you get there, we don't begrudge that. There are some people in this world that tell you that if you didn't get it there a certain way, you're wrong. That's not us. So now let's put Roblox, because there's a lot of people. When Alex was talking about Roblox, I remember this pretty clearly. All the kids are playing it. It's a mainstay of life. And I'm not going to sell anybody on Roblox. I don't play Roblox. I don't have any kids that play Roblox. It's
yet.
This right now. This isn't my bailiwick. But if you were an early, and this is a newer issue. Look at this weekly chart. That's the IPO. If you were an early adopter to getting books delivered by mail from a company called Amazon, and you're like, you know what, man, I like this. I'm just going to dollar cost average into this thing.
Yep.
And I don't view that. I don't view anything wrong with it, right? Like, the risk you're assuming. It doesn't mean, and maybe you're going to hold through some draw. This is just one consolidation. Whatever the rules are for you that make you sleep at night, great. But on a weekly chart, this is just one big consolidation. And that I from whenever Alex mentioned it first, I don't remember when. I believe it was in the 90s or the mid 80s.
Yeah.
You're not really that far off the mark. It's just a chart that's consolidated. And so the information that you're given, you at home, you need to understand, it goes with anything that you're doing. You need to know your parameters. What is your entry? What is your exit? What is your strategy for this? And look, you can really screw yourself here too, by the way. Selling yourself on a story, selling yourself on this is the next big thing. Yeah. And it's easy the market is littered with stocks that have broken people's hearts as being the next big thing.
Yep.
And so I think a weekly chart is fine. And look, it doesn't mean you can dollar cost average in, but at some point, this chart might. Do you really want to hold something from 80 down to 40 or 50 or 60 if the whole market rolls?
Well, along those lines too, after a big correction or bear market, the next leaders some stocks are continued leaders through a couple different cycles, but a few of them will drop out. You got to be supple enough to, like Alex was saying, not be married to the story. If it's still a leader, great. If it's not, you got to find the next leader.
Right. And so, like Facebook here, and I'm going to come back to Alex in a second. But Facebook is interesting here. Like, there's no alternative right now for small business. I don't even know if there's. I mean, how do you reach consumers right now? Even with the Apple privacy things, there's no way that newer brands are reaching people without Facebook or their properties, Instagram, Facebook. I think you can advertise on WhatsApp. I'm not 100% sure about that, but the linear TV advertising, I'm not saying it's dead, but I mean, Budweiser didn't advertise on the Super Bowl this year. Anheuser-Busch did. Like, right. Like, that money's going elsewhere. Whether it's streaming, like ads on Roku. Roku is really, I don't know what Roku's doing right now, but a bunch of ad-supported content's going to YouTube. And all these channels, a lot of these channels give you the ability to pay extra to opt out of ads. Like YouTube, pay for the premium subscription, you'll never see another ad again. And so the opportunities to actually break through are crucial. And here's the thing. I when Facebook did the opt out, like Apple let you opt out of like being tracked by Facebook. I did it just to see how the ads would change. I was getting ads for nonsense, like concrete repair, like whatever they thought, like they're just throwing darts, like, are you interested in lumber? Are you interested in concrete? No. And I think what'll happen is we'll go one way with privacy, and then people actually want to see relevant ads. Like if you're searching for beef jerky, you're going to see ads for beef jerky, or as a test right now to everybody listening through a connected device or a device that might be listening. Panera's coffee subscription, the best value in coffee. Go to Panera. For $9 a month, you can drink 82 cups of coffee, which I am on pace to do this month. And you will get your $9 worth. Panera.
It's not a sponsor, Dad. Tim just likes
I was
Panera
about to say,
bread.
if he brings that up again, they need to pay us.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, we're not actually going to pay.
You can't do that again unless they're going to pay us. Call them up.
Yeah.
Now, Danny's Meat Rubs. When you want to rub your meat, choose Danny's Meat Rubs.
I've actually got to send some more out to a couple people.
Because it's real, it makes it better. So
I do want to try this.
Oh yeah, everybody.
All I've heard about it.
I've got some in the office.
Yeah,
really?
Take some home.
Watch out.
Danny's, I'm telling you, man. Danny's
I didn't know
spice
you
rub.
didn't never tried it.
Well, wait. How can our listeners go?
Well, I'll tell you what.
Wait
Whether
a
you're a
second.
client or maybe considering becoming a client, why don't you call 855 Real Wealth? Here, let me just give you the number for Danny's Spice Rubs. 855-732-5932. The only joke that popped in my mind is that if you want, I can't even say it.
Yeah.
You probably should.
No, keep
No.
going. Let's go back to the markets. Let's
All right.
remember we were there, and all of a sudden,
That's
Tim takes his left turn.
Alex, what else you got, brother?
Oh yeah. So sorry.
yeah.
I was doing something for the team. Yeah, so this week I have let's pull up Yeti.
Oh man, I talked about this on Wednesday. Yeah,
How
what's
is
Yeti doing today?
Yeah. Ooh.
Yeah,
That's a
I
weekly.
agree with you. I think it's handling out nicely around that century mark, the $100 level.
Mhm.
And if the mark, here's the thing right now. No matter how great your stock setup is or how strong your stock setup, if the market isn't working with you, you're basically pushing against a tidal wave. So just make sure you're measuring your risk and buying appropriately. Another point I want to make: when I make stock recommendations and stuff, the viewers have to understand that ultimately they're going to have to do their own research too. Because when I do my research, it's hours of research, and that's why I get so excited, and so I get a lot of conviction that allows me to hold the stock for months, if not hopefully maybe even years, to get really big wins. And that's why I say super winner, because I see the opportunity and the potential. So just a heads up.
Well,
I
but
might
also
be a little bit more
let me clarify. It's not a recommendation. It's not. You're giving
No.
stock ideas to research and
Ideas.
for education,
Yes.
and we're showing you
Right.
how you manage that position. We're not recommending they go buy it at all.
I see the confusion. Stock nerds, I didn't even do it. Danny, you just got to prompt me. I'll do it now. Stock nerds and market lovers, these videos are for what? Your edification purposes only.
Yes.
They're never ever to be misconstrued as advice. If you want advice, seek advice. All you have to do is call America's Fiduciary, right? 855-722-5932. If you are confused at this moment in time and you think, gosh, those guys are giving me advice, you are a dope. We are
Absolutely
surely
not.
not giving you advice.
No.
What we are doing is educating you. And if you didn't understand edification, we are educating you. We're going to school.
The Connecticut school.
Connecticut School of Broadcasting upstairs, the walking mics. So the fighting mics. The fighting mics. So listen, not advice. Not advice, not advice, not advice. I can't say that enough. Well, when do you give advice? We give advice when
The
you
other,
call. Go ahead.
Tim, the other name I did was last night's photo stock. It was Affirm, AFRM. So this was two gap ups due to news events. One was their partnership with Amazon. The other was earnings related.
Mm-hmm.
And that purple line is what I was talking about last night as a potential area if you wanted to put stock on. Also, the January 150s sparked my interest. I did put a position on in the beta test portfolio on those January 150s. Calls. And not the January 2023s. They're not leaps. They're just about, 4 months out? So 110 days or so. So that's what I'm focused on right now. That's my stop will probably be that. You see 2 days ago, that low around the 8 AMA where that bounced off of.
Right in here.
So I think it Wednesdays. No, keep going right, even tighter.
Over here?
Yep, that low. I will stop out, and I can always buy it back. And you got to remember, I bought this on that gap up day. It went up to 125, and then it just flushed out back down, and then I sold. I was like, it just didn't give me the greatest confirmation. So I was like, you know what? If it comes back up, you could always buy your stock back. There's nothing wrong with that. Like sometimes the best names take a few tries.
Okay.
So that's it for me.
Gotcha. Hunter. This, my friend.
Yes. Can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine. This is
All right,
all you all the time, baby.
All righty. Tim, will you pull up ITB really quick for me, the home builder ETF? And this will be really quick. I meant to mention this in the video last night, but I just wanted to highlight that there was a little bit of strength and volume in this ETF or sector yesterday, while most of the other value type reopening sectors were weak. So just a little bit of coming back to life. And what you want to look at here is TOL, Toll Brothers. This is the last standing and the best looking stock today. It's in this sector. It's showing some relative strength today as well versus like Lennar and DHI perhaps. So Toll holding up and looking a lot better than its peers for what it's worth. That may be a situation where it's the last man standing and ends up coming through. But if the sector does end up coming back a little bit, you might want to keep an eye on Toll because it has held up better than its peers. Secondly, Tim, I want to talk about semi-equipment. I talked about ASML probably about several weeks back, and this one is actually coming down to the 21 EMA, close to it as we speak on some volume. Not sure if there's any news. Could just be some natural selling, profit taking. I don't know. But really, I want to talk about two other members of this group. And first, Tim, will you pull up AMAT, Applied Materials?
Done and done.
Yeah, so this has been a lagging group, especially when you compare it to the AMDs and NVIDIAs of the world. So the semi equipment has really not performed like some of those other chip makers or chip producers have. But over the last several weeks, and more particularly the last week, we've seen some volume come into these semi equipment names. We've seen them make a run at all-time highs. As ASML has been the leader, but these two are starting to show some signs of life. The next one, Tim, is going to be KLAC. And this one, I think, is possibly establishing itself maybe as a new leader in the group. It's already breaking out ahead of AMAT and LRCX. There's some serious volume. It's showing relative strength compared to applied materials today. And I say serious volume, I mean more so multiple days of elevated volume to the upside here on KLAC. So had about 7 up days in a row, 5 of those 7 or 5 of those 6, all on above average volume. So some interesting action in the group that really hasn't had much success this year after its top kind of in January, February. Just a couple more here. 2 individual names that I think have a similar type of setup. ELY, this is Callaway.
Oh, the golf space.
Yeah, so what's going to make these 2 that I'm going to show very similar is kind of a falling wedge consolidation. Both have cut through their moving averages, but in the last couple of days to the last week or so, both have made really strong moves with volume to get back through all of those moving averages. So here you've got ELY kind of just retesting the 50 days, sitting right there above it. You really kind of have an easy stop on this one. If you wanted to pull the trigger, you've got all those moving averages beginning to curl under that 30 level. That 30 level is also a good line in the sand, which is going to be pretty much the close from the day prior. The gap updates him. If you see that, it's going to be, I guess that would be Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
Close was 30.09. So the 30 level is a good line in the sand, as well as all those moving averages right below that. The other name that looks similar to this, Tim, is LOVE, Lovesac, the furniture producer. But this one gapped up a little bit earlier, so about a week or so ago, but similar type of thing. Got back through all those moving averages, came back, retested, and has ultimately started to resume higher, actually holding up pretty well today considering where the market is at. So 2 similar patterns there. We'll see if they can work out and get those moving averages kind of back in the order that they're supposed to be in. And then, Tim, last thing here, last 2 things, actually. I want to touch on FSLR because I covered it in the video as possibly a new leader in the solar sector. And we see that one pulling back on light volume to the 8 EMA today. FSLR, Tim. Sorry.
No, I went to tan.
Gotcha. Yep. So pulling back to the 8, also kind of getting close to retesting that 100 level. Acting much better than its peers still. Sedge is getting a little tight. Enphase still really struggling. So that thesis is still kind of holding up. Its First Solar has acted a little bit better than its peers, still continues to look better than its peers in a group that's really been beaten up and forgotten about. And last name, Tim, SIVB, Silicon Valley Bank, acting like a leader for the bank space. So it's breaking out, making new all-time highs today. Not up crazy, but it is up with some volume today. It's had some decent volume the last few days and looks a lot better than some of the other banks in the space. So SIVB may be a little bit of a leader in the bank space. There's some that are really close to breaking out, really tight, but SIVB kind of getting out ahead of the pack. And that's all I've got, Tim. I know that was kind of a lot, but that's what I've got today, man.
Silicon Valley Bank focuses a bunch on startups. Bunch. That's what's we didn't get to it today. We're not going to get to it, but next week we'll talk about. Danny had an interesting article on allowing more access to startups. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that next week. Don,
yeah, I know SIVB is like really heavily involved with private equity, venture capital, that type of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Don, what you got? 21 over 21, Dirty 30, Jaguars, Urban Meyer breaking down. What's going on?
I'm not sure what's worse, my fantasy team's performance last Sunday or the Jaguars' performance.
Well, let's dive into that. Did the guys
equally unimpressive?
Did the guys beat you? Are the guys winning their league? What? Give us an
Actually, guys
we did win.
They won their game. I lost my game. We didn't play each other. Their let's just say that their team performed as expected, and mine did not.
Interesting.
Could you elaborate a little bit more on that?
Well, they sucked. My team sucked.
No, I'm talking about Hunter. I'm talking about Guns, Katudas, and Sweetums. Are they beating you so far? That's
when you say guns,
like a rented mule.
When you say guns,
that's all I wanted to know, Don.
You said Guns, Katudas, and Sweetums, and I thought like their mascot would be Alex kissing his bicep.
There you go.
He's
Guns.
guns gratuitous, all sweet on his arms.
Oh.
Alex's sound effect. I can't see the fellow stock. Like, there's no shot of.
You can imagine my face though. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
sure.
Like, that's the
Beaming.
He's blushing.
That's the best. Like, I love it when I hear Alex's like. We're gonna talk about Roblox. Son of a bitch.
Son of a bitch, you got me.
Like I
At
just.
least we didn't talk about Butterfly.
Oh yeah, that was a
How
yeah.
do you-
What was the there was another SPAC we were looking at that recently had gone like to like $6 or $7 after being really elevated. I just cannot remember.
CLO
the
is it
ticker
Clove?
symbol.
Clove?
US?
No.
I know the
It's the
Shamath
poster
SPACs
child
have
for-
somewhat come. Yeah,
Yeah.
I know SoFi I think is acting a little better than Clove. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah. There's that Mark Wahlberg stock
SoFi
is
was.
It looks like a ski jump.
XLV. Is that what it is? Yeah, F45 training.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny that he has that, but he also has Wahlburgers. So like you can get fat at one place and then lose weight at the other.
But-
Good business model.
Genius
it's great.
business model.
It's grass-fed
Genius.
beef.
It's grass.
Good businessman.
Well, I was thinking about the nutrition quality of a healthy diet if you actually got a Taco Bell subscription. I mean, how big would you get
Yeah.
and how fast?
All right.
Your heart.
You
your
need a
arteries.
gym membership along with that. You got to get both.
It's like a dentist giving out candy. Man.
All right, Don, let's get to your stocks.
So 21 over 21, we've got a stock that's been on there since the beginning of March, the longest tenured stock in the history of the 21 over 21 that is going to fall off the list this week.
What is it?
You definitely want to tune in for that. A couple others that are coming on.
Oh,
too.
son of a bitch,
But I wanna
Don. Did I
point out-
just I'm sorry if I just blew it. I was guessing. I don't even know if I guessed right. So don't tell us. I put up a chart because I was just guessing. But go ahead.
I didn't
Don.
see what the chart was that you
Oh,
put
good.
up, but
Good.
Yeah, we
we're
can't see
gonna-
it.
Oh, good. I'm okay. I'm sorry. I don't come to me, Zach.
All right.
All right, I got it. I got a different shit. All right, go ahead, Don. I'm so
we
sorry.
are at a very critical juncture, stepping back a little bit from stocks and just looking at the indexes, with the S&P 500 teetering as we speak on the 50-day moving average. And the NASDAQ 100, the Qs, tested the 21 this week, successfully tested, got back above it, but are now below the 21-day moving average again. That's been the strongest of the indexes. So we're keeping a very close eye on that. As we know, 75% of stocks will follow what's going on with the market. Leading stocks have been really outperforming the indexes the entire month of September. But if weakness in the market continues, it will absolutely permeate the leaders eventually, and they fall hard. It's the old escalator up, elevator down. So we've got all our stops in place as always. We've got about a 4.5% exposure, meaning if all of our stops were hit, we would lose 4.5% from where we are right now.
The rebar.
So Revere estimated balance at risk, yes, is what that is. But we really need to see the S&P get back above the 4450 level. Right now, as we're talking noon Eastern time, we're at 4440. So not far from it, but a big battle taking place here around this 4430 to 4450 area in the S&Ps.
All right. Listen, stock knows Mark Roberts. I'll tell you what, Dan. Do your normal outro, and then I do have one last thing.
Folks, listen, if you like what you heard.
You know what? We have to, I'm sorry, we have to address something before we exit. Tim, can you bring up UUP?
Yeah.
Because this is what has really been impacting stocks this week. And bring it up on an ATR chart.
There you go.
The dollar, we talked about, look back to the far left of the picture there. You see the high bars there. That was when we talked about a possible rally in the markets with that falling in. That's really what we've gotten. But look how it bottomed at the -2 ATR and has been climbing ever since then, and that's corresponding with weakness in the market. There's an absolute correlation going on between the dollar and stocks, as there usually is, but it's been unusually tight over the last couple of weeks. So the dollar playing a major role in the strength and or weakness of the market.
So dollar goes up, stocks go down, and vice versa.
Yes.
All right, folks, listen, if you liked what you heard, please tell a friend, tell a neighbor. Just send them to revereasset.com, and they can sign up for this daily market insight video, learn what we think is going to happen tomorrow, today, and also they can get this podcast delivered right into their inbox. We won't spam them. We won't bother them in any way. It's up to them to reach out to us if they want a complimentary portfolio review, want something for us to talk about, a stock or a topic, or simply just have questions. You can email any of us at dan@revereasset.com, don@revereasset.com, Tim, Hunter, or Alex at revereasset.com. You can also call us old school at 855-REAL-WEALTH.
Just a thought here, Danny. If the markets were to pull back, what would we expect? What do I expect? What do I think is going to happen? How deep can the pullback get, Tim? Tell me now. I need to know. Well, let's do that. So I've got the NASDAQ up here. I'm going to do it on a weekly time. And so the rare event that takes place is that the NASDAQ gets close enough for government work to the third ATR. And I know it's probably small on somebody's screen, but it got kind of close there a couple weeks ago. And the last time the NASDAQ got up to the third ATR on a weekly time frame, how deep was that pullback? Okay, it doesn't happen often. So our friend Jeff from Kansas City came in. Jeff from Kansas City, Chiefs fan Jeff, and so Jeff's an awesome fellow. And I was showing him this, and I was like, it doesn't look like much, but when you look from just high to low, that's a 14% pullback. So and that's on an indice. So this is a weekly chart, so it's not going to just maybe it'll happen, but I don't think so. This 14% move took a month to just take place over time, and so if you're feeling a 14% move on the indices, what are your stocks doing, Danny?
Some of the individuals be getting camera.
Oh, 20-25%. And so
yeah, they'll get obliterated.
Yes, and that is
Kathy Wood's ARC fund was down 40-45%.
when
Well, on that last NASDAQ pullback.
there you go. And so I just wanted people to have a little context. So anyway, it's just something to be aware of. And so all the things that we're talking about, stock stops, rules for entry, rules for exit, they all matter. And so
it's all about the rules.
And look, that does not look like a deep pullback, but you get 14%.
But that's a weekly chart.
Yes. You get 14% pullback in the NASDAQ in this environment. It's going to feel much, much, much more painful.
Put them on a daily so they can see it real quick. Put it on the daily, and it'll look a little more, because that's what they're going to kind of live through. The weekly smooths it out.
Yeah.
And see, so then there's that.
I got to go over.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's
so
back.
That's a little bit more. That's what you're going to be feeling. Folks, we'll talk to you next week on Your Money.